How is Ātman the Upadrashṭā, the silent spectator? Drashta you have already seen. Drashta means the seer, and Upa means being close. So, seer who is sitting close would be the exact meaning, analogy. 15 priests are performing a yajna, sacred ritualistic ceremony in a yajna-shala, sanctum of ceremonial offerings. The 16th member is the host on whose name the priests are conducting the ceremony. The 17th member is the host's wife, and the 18th member is the Upadrashṭā who sits nearby as a spectator. He does not perform any rites, is not related to the host, is not related to the priest, is not related to the things which are being offered as in that ritualistic sacrifice fire. Likewise, in the sanctum of the gross body, now pay attention to it, because that example is now being used to understand our own true self. In the sanctum of the gross body, 5 cognitive senses, 5 motor senses, 5 pranas represent the 15 priests. The 16th member is the host, vice the mind. The 17th member is the host's wife, vice the intellect. In Hindi, mind is man and intellect is buddhi, e-karak. E-karak words are striling, feminine. Right? So we are using the buddhi as the wife and mind as the husband. They all perform the ceremony of sensory indulgence, and in their intimate proximity is the silent observer, who is the Atma, who is the 18th member. So how many family members you have?
18.
No, family members, you are already included in my question, so it is 17. How many members? Make a new ration card, 17 members. CA people come, then say we have 17 members. One me, one buddhi, one mind, and so on. How is the Ātman Eka singular? Atma is no other like itself, that is, there is no one else like Atman. Thus the Atman is Eka, in one. These are the 10 Videya attributes of Atman. Videha. Videha means those attributes exist in Atman. These attributes exist. And now we move on to the Nishedhya. Those which are not present in Atman, but are present in, just hold. But are present in? Yeah, you can say prapanch or anatma. Okay. Answer. Ananta, Akhanda, absolute bereft of any division. Asanga, unassociated. Advitiya, unparalleled. Ajanmā, birthless. Nirvikāra, without modifications. Nirākāra, formless. Avyakta, unapparent. Avyaya, inexpendible. Akshara, indestructible. Actually, this is just 10. This can be actually hundreds and thousands words. One thing will be common, either they'll begin from A or will begin from N. N is nakaratmak, negative. A is again nakaratmak. How is Atma? Ananta. Atma is all pervasive. Hence it is not restricted by space or boundaries. Atma is eternal, hence cannot be bound by time. Atma is adhisthana substratum, it exists in everyone and everything. And so it is not bound by any subject or object. Atma is not bound by space, time or object. That is, it is not confined. Thus, Atma is Ananta. Anything in this prapanch is limited by these 3 boundaries: time, space and object. have a look around, then you will find everything is in this limitation. But Atma is unlimited, hence is Ananta. Anta means end. For example, where the table ends, the mat begins. Where the mat ends, the floor begins. Where the floor ends, the wall begins. Where the wall ends, the external road begins. So there's some end point. But in Atma there is no end point. So Ananta, endless. How is Atma Akhanda? There are 5 disparities. Disparities between Jiva and Ishvara. Remember? Okay, you tell me, what is the disparity between Jiva and Ishvara?
जीव जो है वो अविद्या की पाने वाला है, जो ईश्वर है वो माया की।
Yeah. Disparity amongst diverse Jivas, disparity between Jiva and Jada, disparity between Jada and Ishvara, disparity between diverse Jada objects, and Atma is bereft of these disparities, and Atma is also free from internal disparities, hence Atma is Akhanda. What would be the interrelation, like say in between Jiva? There have to be 2 Jiva first. What is intera?
Women, difference between
In between women, same species. In between men, same species, the differences. And then the internal is like your hand is different from your foot, foot is different from hand. There are all different disparities in the body and in the minds. How is Atma Asanga? Sanga means being in an association. And now this association is of 3 types. How many? Sajatiya Sambandh, that exists within the same class of subjects, is called the intra-association. For example, the association between one Brahmin and another Brahmin, the priest class in the Hindu. Now it can be, same, whatever, same profession, same gender, same name, Then comes the Vijatiya. Vijatiya means the opposite. The association that exists between subjects of 2 different classes is called inter-association. For example, the association between a Brahmin with a Shudra, a man of the service class in the Hindu caste system, and then Swagata Sambandha, the association that exists among the different parts of our body, is called the internal association. For example, the association of a person with his own hands, feet, forehead, etc. Similarly, Atma is singular and whole, hence it is not subject to any division or classification. Jeev, Ishwar, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, I, you, etc. These differences are in upadhis, impositions, hence they are illusory. Therefore, Atma does not have a sajatiya sambandh with anybody. So, Brahma, Vishnu are 2 different, so they have some relation. Jeev, Ishwara are different, they have some. I and you are different, have some differences. And all these differences are because of the differences of antahkarans. But in Atma, there is nobody like Atma, so this first disparity is not applicable. 2. Atma is Advaita, non-dual and Sat. Contrary to it, Maya and its apparent creation, subtle and gross world, is Asat, untruth. And as Asat itself is non-existent. Therefore, Atma does not have a Vijatiya Sambandh with anybody. When it's just Atma and Atma alone. Somebody said, Atma must be so lonely. Just alone, nobody with with Atma. Now Atma is not a he, that he will miss a she. He will miss a she will miss a, and a he can miss a dog, or a she can miss a dog or a cat, But when this just absolute, complete, one existence, so there is nobody opposite to Atman. Hence this vijatiya sambandha is not applicable onto the Atman. So now whenever you feel lonely and sad, be this clear to you that you are definitely not resting in your own true self. You have become mind, and this mind is crying, mummy, husband, boyfriend, whatsoever. Somebody was saying, I'm missing my room here. I said, really? You're missing your room? What to say? Good. So Atma is Niravyava, indivisible. Satchit, Ananda, etc. are not parts of Atman. Since the Atman is absolute one, it does not have a swagat sambandha with anybody. In this manner, Atma is free of all associations, and therefore Atma is Asanga. When we say Atma is Sat, Chit, Ananda, it's not like that, it's like a head, feet and trunk of the Atman. There are no such divisions. Hence this swagata sambandh is not also applicable. Hence Atma is Asanga. Question. How is Atma Advaita? Duality visa prapancha, being as illusory as dream, is not real. Thus as Atma is free from duality, it is non-dual. There has to be some other. Then we can do the AB compare. But when there is no other, then there is no AB compare. So when there is no AB compare, that's why we say the Atma is Advaita, non-dual. How is Ātman Ajanmā? Birthless. Birth is the nature of the gross body. Birth is not the nature of even the subtle body. This is point to be, meditating on to. The subtle body is not born. Doesn't has a DOB. Body, gross only has it. Then how can it be the nature of Atman? Even if one believes that Atma is born, then one will have to believe in its death too. This will prove the Atman to be non-eternal. See, if you take out one point and then they say, well, then if you accept this one point, then everything else is gone. That's why Vedanta is very particular about the choice of words to be used. You cannot have wrong choices of words, even in the general conversations with somebody. There are certain words which are very offensive. The person, if he is so stupid that is using offensive words and doesn't even know, will never apologize and will never correct oneself. But in certain times, in interaction with fools, sometimes the wise ones then choose to stay away from fools. Got it? So don't use such gestures or words that then you have to be kept at a distance. Because this is one thing very clear. Do not correct anybody over here in ashram. The only thing is if somebody is doing a stupidity, is using, say, an offensive words without realizing what they are speaking, so such a stupid person cannot be taught. Just stay away from them. As Swami Buaji used to say, go and die. Simple. So this is like a statutory warning coming to. Because if I begin to collect the list of the blunders which individuals do, and I am telling you, I am not going to correct. And I've asked them also not to correct. They said, what to do then? I said, keep a safe distance. That's the only thing what you do. Because when you try to explain something to a fool will never understand. The fool will rather just get more upset and angry. And then having an angry fool as an enemy is not a good thing for your peace of mind. So we are not here to correct anybody, but just it came into the context I have said this. Very, very important what words you use, what gestures you do, how you behave. You are being watched. Know that. You are being watched. Now, we were here. This will prove the Ātman to be non-eternal, but this is not acceptable even to the believers of the other heavenly planes, because that which is subject to birth and death is absent in the beginning and in the end. Which means that neither did the Ātman exist in the previous birth, nor did it karmas. It further entails that in this lifetime, the Ātma gets fruits despite not doing any previous actions, and as the Ātman will cease to exist after the death, all the karmas performed in this life will be destroyed without bearing their fruits. This thinking will negate the karmic principle expounded in the Vedas. Thus, birth is not the nature of Ātman, and so the Ātma is unborn. Not being subject to birth also proves that it is not subject to death. Question: how is Ātman Nirvikāra? Without any modifications. The sixfold nature of a clay pot is creation, existence, growth, extent, degeneration, destruction. But the above mentioned states do not apply to the space within the pot, which is distinct from the clay pot. They are talking about the space in the pot. That space is never destroyed, no degeneration, no growth, no existence. Existence in the sense, clay pot is made or not made, the space is always there. So we can say the clay pot's existence got created, but then it got destroyed. You can't say Akasha got created and then Akasha got destroyed because the pot got destroyed. Similarly, the body is born, this is birth. The body has taken birth, this is its existence. It's very, very fine difference over here. Somebody says a baby is born. Father said, okay, where is the baby? No, you cannot see the baby. Why? Oh, baby is born in the dreams. So it's not just born. It's where taken the birth, the existence should be visible. The body grows into a child, this is growth. The body grows into youth, this is extension. The body turns old, this is degeneration. The body dies, this is destruction. This modification or change is the nature of the body. It is not the nature of the Ātman, which is distinct from the body. In this way, Ātma is bereft of modifications and is thus Nirvikāra. How is Ātman Nirākāra? Now see, it's a very similar word, and Yamuna is going to cry. Nirvikāra and Nirākāra. Nirvikāra and Nirākāra sounds similar, but definitely not similar. Akara means form. So nir means negation. Nirākāra means without a form. And Nirvikāra nir means not present. And Vichar is that which can go wrong, that which can get sullied, that which is prone to change, that is prone to bad changes actually. So Nirvikāra. So different modifications can happen in a form, but that which is without a form obviously cannot have this variety of modifications into it. There are 4 types of forms existing in the world: gross, subtle, long, short. As the Atman is neither the object of senses nor the mind, it is subtle. To paraphrase, it is not gross. Atma is all pervading, thus it's not subtle either, that it's not atomic or subatomic. Many people think Atma should be like an atom. When somebody says, no, it should be like an electron proton, further, getting into the subtler zones. But that's not true. Every atom is defined by its space. And Atma is all pervasive, hence doesn't apply. Atma is homogeneously present in all the places, and thus it's neither long nor short. Thus Atma is Nirākāra. How is Atma Avyakta, unapparent? Atma is beyond the perception of mind and senses, thus Atma is Avyakta. Vyakta word means that which can be expressed. Vyakta means that which can be perceived. But Atma is not an object, hence is called Avyakta. How is Atma Avyaya? When cereals stored in a granary are removed for consumption, the store gets depleted. The Atma is not subject to such exhaustion or depletion. Thus Atma is Avyaya, which cannot be spent. It's not like an expenditure that, no, my Atma is half finished now. Not applicable. How is Atma Akshara? The Atma is free from destruction. Akshara word means destruction, right? So A is negation. So Akshara, non-destructible. Therefore Atma is Akshara. It is also known as Akshaya. Kshaya, as I have said, is mortal. Akshaya, immortal. And Avinashi. Vinashi is destructible. And Avinashi is in this manner, these are the Nishedhya attributes of Atman. Now comes the big question. In what manner are the above mentioned attributes inseparable or identical? Answer. Had Satchitananda etc. been the attributes of Atman, they would have been separate from each other. However, these are not the attributes of the Atman, rather they are its essence. Therefore, they are not separate from one another, they are identical. Like you say, rose is red, rose is light, rose is nice smelling. Are we talking about 3 different things? No, that's the essence of that rose. So Atma is Sat and Chit and Ananda and Vyapak. That is the essence of the Atma. It's not a guna or an attribute or an embellishment or an accessory. The one absolute Atma alone is indestructible, thus it is Sat. Contrary to the Jada, Atma is eternally illuminating, hence it is Chaitanya. Contrary to the dukkha, it is the subject of utmost gratification and is hence Ananda. Know the same to be true for all the other attributes. Illustration. A man from the perspective of a father is called a son. From the perspective of grandfather is called a grandson. From the perspective of paternal uncle is called a paternal nephew. From the perspective of maternal uncle is called maternal. See how the family relations are being used to explain such what a subject. With respect to an animal, a woman and a householder, etc., a renunciate is called a human, a man, and a celibate, respectively. These are the Videya attributes. And with respect to a clay pot, rock, tree, etc., he is referred to as the one who is neither a clay pot, a rock, nor a tree. These are his Nishedhya attributes. Similarly with respect to the adjectives used to describe prapancha. Now these are very interesting names. Try to hold it in your memory. Prapanchik can be also called asat, can be called jada, sorrowful, associated, divisible, mortal. The one Atman is referred to as Sata, Chaitanya, ever blissful, unassociated, indivisible, eternal, etc. In this manner, the attributes used to describe the Atman are not separate from one another, they are identical. That which is Sat, Sat means that which exists. How did you come to know that that exists? So now the knowing factor comes into it. And when it knows that I am the only one, the non-dual existence, there is no fear from anybody. Nobody can cut, nobody can chase, nobody can challenge, nobody can oppose. So it's like Atma is unopposed, unchallenged. It gives Ananda. So why is Atma unchallenged and unopposed and cannot fail? Because there is no opponent. That is why when somebody takes the vow of renunciation in the Vedic system is therefore called a Swami. Swami means Lord. Lord of this body-mind unit and Lord of this whole universe. So people break their bones to become rich. Then they find somebody is more richer than him. And more and more and more. Who is the number one richest person of the world? So there is this list which comes in the magazine. And then the number 3 wants to come at number 2. The number 2 wants to come to number 1. The number 1 richest person is, oh God, don't push me down. Is in such an agony and pain. And here the sannyasa, when it's given, the Guru says, from now on, you are Swami Anubhuta Nan. You are a Swami. Without lifting a finger, you become the master. So if you are not a Swami, then I'll use the Hindi word, then you are just a Dasi. Servant. Slave. Go and cry. That's what you are. Slave of mummy daddy, slave of husband, slave of money, slave of wealth, slave of house, slave of relations, slave of things, slave of where is my security? And remember, a slave can never have Ananda. That's why there can be categories of slaves, but a slave is always a slave and not a king. And so slaves are always in misery and pain and anguish and unhappiness and sad and cranky and worthless. So, there are only two options to live in this world, either be a Swami or be a slave. If you are slave in your mind to even one thing or one person, you are doomed. Sannyasa is like a jump. Jump from, you leave the home, which gave you security. You leave the relations, which give you security. You leave your wealth, which gives you security. You leave your name, which gives you security. You leave your post, which gives you security. And then you are stark naked in front of the master, and the master says, now move on. So a new name, a new life, new attitude, new aptitude, new zeal. And then Guru names Swami. And then gives whatever the name Guru feels like. So Atma is Sat Chit Anand Vyapak. Atma doesn't has to become Sat, doesn't needs to do something to become Chaitanya, doesn't needs to do something to be Kutastha, doesn't needs to be Asanga. Is Asanga, is unattached, is Chaitanya. That very isness has all the Videya attributes into it, and all the Nishedhya attributes too are right there. Hence, the one who knows this pure self or Atman arises above all pain and miseries and anguishes. Because you cannot have pain, misery and anguish until you get attached with either body or mind or the people or things. You have to be attached with somebody. It can be the name and the fame and the position what you have of your the social status or your body's identity. So when you have this association, you can't be in Ananda. You can't be happy. You can't be in your isness. You can't be in your true self. And the mind is like a small baby who is always with the, it has a kind of a glue gun in its hand. And whosoever the mind meets, tuck, you are mine, you are mine, you are mine, you are mine, you are mine. But things and objects have their own, people have their own minds. And they too have their own guns. So they sometimes attack you back and they say, you are mine. And then these two yous want to control one another. And this is what the fights of the family, the marital fights or the sibling fights or the neighbors fight or neighboring countries fight or the commercial companies, people are fighting with one another because this one you wants to control the another you. And these two yous have these guns. This is mine, this is mine, this is mine. So mine and thine is the whole game of Maya, and the one who drops this mine and thine, the Roman English, thine. See, if you say to somebody, you're a donkey, the person will obviously get very angry. But if you use a Romanized English, thou shalt a donkey. Person won't get it. What's he saying? So with this we come into the 7th chapter of Vichar Chandrodaya.